Good morning. Thanks so much for checking in with us here at Atlanta News First Plus on your Sunday. Hope your day's off to a great start. I'm Megan Packer here to get you updated on what's making news. And we do have some breaking news right now in Brookhaven, where there is a search for a suspect who police say should be considered armed and dangerous. So let's show you his picture. We've been telling you all morning long that there has been an active manhunt for this suspect, Jose Carlos Mesa Ignacio, after someone was shot and killed inside of a Brookhaven apartment overnight. Now, Brookhaven police are saying that this all happened just before 3 o'clock this morning inside an apartment on Buford Highway. They say there was an argument when this suspect here, again, Jose Carlos Mesa Ignacio, shot the victim, and that victim was found dead inside of the apartment. We have some scene video because we had a crew out there at the scene all morning long, and you can see it was really active out here on Buford Highway. The name of the apartment complex is Carmel Creek Apartments. It's right near Claremont Road, if you're familiar with this part of Brookhaven, right near Buford Highway and Claremont, a really busy area. So many apartments there on that stretch of Buford Highway. This woke people up. We talked to neighbors who said that they heard this morning. So you can imagine just how unnerving that is to be woken up to the sound of the gunfire. They found the victim shot multiple times. They tell us that the victim and the suspect, had been drinking when they started arguing about the suspect having a gun, and that's when that shooting happened. The victim has not yet been identified. But again, we have this picture now of the suspect police are looking for, Jose Carlos Mesa Ignacio. We're learning a little bit more about him. He's got a scar on his left eye, several tattoos, including a horse on his left forearm, St. Jude on his back, and lettering on his neck. Brookhaven police say he should be considered armed and dangerous as he is on the run this morning. If you see him or if you have any information about where he could be, reach out to Brookhaven police immediately. We are also following an investigation involving Atlanta police in southeast Atlanta from yesterday, where sadly a 4-year-old girl drowned. This happened around 2:30 yesterday afternoon at a home on Memorial Drive. The little girl was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and investigators do believe it was an accident. We are working to learn more about this, but you can see what the scene looked like out there yesterday. We also heard from some neighbors. They just knew something was wrong immediately when they started to see the emergency vehicle show up and, somebody run out, try to flag down a fire truck. So as we learn more, keep it right here and also on our free Atlanta News First app, and we will let you know when we learn more about that investigation. But again, investigators do believe that was just a tragic accident that claimed the life of a 4-year-old girl. There were protesters out in Midtown yesterday, and they are demanding the Trump administration restore federal funding to scientific research. It was called the Sound Science Save Lives protest, and it was yesterday. The group wants the current administration to bring back what they're calling well-funded and scientifically sound research and public health programming. It came just a little more than a week after a man shot at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention buildings in DeKalb County. We've told you that investigators believe that accused shooter blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal. And there was an officer who was killed responding to that shooting, Officer David Rose of the DeKalb County Police Department, and his family is preparing to lay him to rest on Friday. The specific details have not been released yet as far as what time that day or where it will be held. We'll be sure to share those details when we learn them. But Officer Rose was a husband, a father of 2 with a 3rd child on the way, and more than $500,000 has been raised so far to support his family. If you would like to donate, you can read more about that and find a link to do so on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. There's been such a show of support for everybody coming forward to send love and well wishes and, yes, donations to his family. A lot of the donations that we've been seeing coming in are from CDC workers who are thanking him for protecting them. And people say he no doubt saved lives by being, one of the first on the scene that day, just a little more than a week ago. All right, let's get a check of our forecast now. It is another hot sunny summer day out there. We knew the 90s would be back. It was only a matter of time. First Alert meteorologist Isaac Williams is here to talk about our weather at home. But also, Isaac, we need to talk about what's happening with Hurricane Erin. You've been watching the track of that storm really closely.
Yes, Erin certainly taking weather headlines for good reason. It was a Category 5 storm yesterday. It is still a major hurricane this morning, and we will talk all about your forecast coming up. We have 3 First Alert weather days next week, and I'll get to Erin as well here in just a moment. First, though, obviously you can see outside across Atlanta, not a cloud in the sky, sunny and hazy, and the temperatures are climbing quickly this morning. It's almost lunch, and we'll easily be getting into the 90s today. First Alert weather days Thursday, Friday, Saturday of really next week. We have widespread rain and storms on the way as a front approaches from the north. Fronts always bring us increased rain coverage, and we have decent confidence in the forecast at this point that we will have some of those showers and storms more likely later in the week. This morning, we are watching some storms in the western Atlantic, the northern Gulf, and then taking a bigger picture view, the front responsible for the increased rain coverage later in the week is actually up to the north of us into portions of the Great Lakes, and that's something that we will be watching going forward here. That front's going to make a slow progress to the south over the next few days. So that's something that we'll be watching. But right now, First Alert radar nice and clear. On a Futurecast, you can see quite a bit of scattered rain activity expected Thursday. That's the first of 3 First Alert weather days. And then on Friday, more of the same. Heavy rain potential certainly with us. And that front's going to be making only slow progress. So that's why we extended that First Alert weather day into Saturday as well. Temperatures right now already in the middle 80s. It's 85 in Atlanta, 86 in Covington, 81 in Blairsville after getting down to at least 63 comfortable degrees this morning up in the mountains, 85 over in Athens, 86 in Eatonton. The forecast today, 94 degrees. We'll have just a few showers out there. The rain coverage just 20%. So nothing too crazy out there with temperature again at 94, just as we got yesterday. Tomorrow, a degree or 2 higher expected. We're going for 95 Monday to start a new work week. 20% chance of rain, a few storms in the afternoon. But again, between today and tomorrow, we're just not seeing much out there for big rain coverage. But the heat definitely a possibility and likelihood, that is. Highs will scale back a few degrees Tuesday and Wednesday. Rain coverage ticks up slightly, just to 30%. But then we're seeing a 50 or 60% chance of rain and storms from Thursday through Saturday of next week with 3 First Alert weather days. But check out the high temperatures. We're starting off in the mid-90s, and then we're going down to the 80s. In fact, low 80s could be with us by next weekend. So the runaway heat not going to be too much of a factor in the forecast, although, again, some pretty hot and steamy days are ahead today and tomorrow before we get some rainy improvements or rainy cooldowns in the 7-day forecast. All right, here's the latest on Erin. 125-mile-per-hour wind, so that makes it a strong Category 3 hurricane. It did weaken, quote-unquote, from the 160-mile-per-hour winds it was packing yesterday, making it the first August Category 5 hurricane in almost 20 years. It does not happen very often, but it rapidly intensified, and it does look like, based on the past couple satellite frames, it might be re-intensifying, and the forecast does call for that. I'll put on the cone here in just a minute. It is passing north of Puerto Rico, the Caribbean islands. There is a tropical storm warning for the Turks and Caicos, and a couple of Bahamas islands are in a tropical storm watch. But thankfully, this system is expected to turn and not really directly impact anyone. So that's good. It's kind of taking a perfect path through the western Atlantic. Yes, the rough seas will definitely be a factor. The rip currents along the east coast, but that's more of an indirect impact instead of a direct impact. So no landfall expected here. So that's good, but we are expecting this system to re-strengthen. So here's the latest cone. Again, notice there's no major changes. We do see that 4 come back up maybe by tomorrow morning. It may happen today. Rapid intensification is difficult to predict in hurricanes. But right now, the latest official track from the Hurricane Center, which was just released, takes the storm northwest and basically passes it near perfectly between Bermuda and the east coast of North Carolina. So Assuming this path is correct, we don't really expect it much deviation. Yes, swells, ocean swells, sea swells, things like that, but no direct impacts, no landfalls expected. It's going to continue moving northwest, then north, then northeast, and kind of curve around Bermuda and away from the U.S. East Coast. You can see by next Friday, still a Category 2 storm, and by this point, it's probably going to be a very large hurricane with hurricane winds extending out much farther than they do right now. Tropical storm force winds also will be much larger. So this is typical of what happens. We have a compact hurricane in that right now those 125 mile per hour winds are probably only extending 30 to 35 miles out. But by the time we get to later in the week, that hurricane wind field is expected to be much larger. Again, no direct impacts. We'll let you know if something changes though. Behind Erin, there's another system that could develop. So this is a lower chance right now, just 20%, but our models are trying to flag another system to kind of swing through this same general area. Of course, no skill in forecasting hurricanes beyond 7 days. That's a reason that the National Hurricane Center's outlooks stop at 7 days. But this is what we're looking at here again. Another 20% chance of development over the next week. With the system potentially forming behind Erin. So that's something that we'll continue to follow. But here is another look here again at Erin. Winds of 125 moving west-northwest at 13. The next full advisory, of course, is issued at 5 o'clock this afternoon from the National Hurricane Center. And then we'll get another full update tonight at 11 p.m. And JD will have the latest on that as well. We're keeping you posted here on ANF Plus as well as inside the First Alert Weather app. Have a great Sunday. Stay cool out there and get ready for some increased rain chances by the end of next week.
From the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF Plus. You can also text WEATHER to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.